About this story is it talks about it's a story about St. Louis City and how St. Louis City is doing everything they can to combat this wave of violence with crime up and aggravated assaults up and robberies up and this recent crime wave here over the last couple of days. By the way, that guy's still up on that billboard, right? You don't hear anything about that guy. But he's still up on the billboard waiting for 7 days where there's not a murder in the city of St. Louis. He's got been up there at least 2 weeks now, maybe 3 weeks. But it started, every time somebody's murdered, the clock starts again at zero. And we should say he's not on the billboard. He's like staying on top of an RV or something underneath a billboard, if you will. He's only a couple feet off the ground, but still he's stuck there. And by the way, R&R Sanitation has donated the porta potty for the cause. But in this story, it talks about how they had called a news conference in the city of St. Louis yesterday. It was already scheduled, even before all this violence, and it talks about how they're working with the feds and the DEA to reduce violence in the area since last summer, and that. Police Chief Sam Dotson said, boy, could you imagine how bad it would be if we weren't doing this? The Circuit Attorney Jennifer Joy said, boy, when I first heard about another initiative, I thought, great, here's another initiative that won't go anywhere. She's pleasantly surprised at how effective this new initiative has been in getting bad guys off the streets and trying to solve the problems of the day. Which, look, I don't want to criticize guys because these leaders, you're the mayor, you only have so many levers. You're the St. Louis County prosecutor. You have so many things you can do. You're Sam Dotson. There's only so many things you can do. I think the police get blamed too much for crime. I don't think it's the police's fault, though we all look to the police every time there's crime and we blame the police. But the police, their job is not to stop crime, even though that's what we tell them to do. It's really not what police do, but that's for another story. So that's the backdrop of going on in the city of St. Louis. Matter of fact, the city of St. Louis is so broke that they can't afford $9 million for new police officers. They want to put 160 new police officers within the city of St. Louis. They can't find $9 million. So much so that they wanted to put it to a vote of the people to raise some taxes, and the Board of Aldermen will not let them ask their residents to raise taxes to hire more police officers. But they do want to put a tax on the ballot for infrastructure, which I find kind of interesting. But whatever. So that's where the city is at right now. And then they have this big news conference yesterday saying that, we're doing everything we can. And it's almost like, and I wasn't at the news conference, but in the article, it almost seems like they are sort of at the wit's end. And that there's a quote at the end of this story where Sam Dotson says, I don't have time for anything else. I have to have a plan. My job is to have a plan. And he says, I don't have the luxury of playing politics with people's safety. I have to have plans. So I kind of feel for these people. However, let's remember where we are in this world. That same city hall wants to spend $1 billion to build a new football stadium for a football team that already has a stadium. So in terms of, let's play Sim City, St. Louis style, and you're the mayor, and you are in the middle of a crime wave. Heroin is up. They're seizing heroin. They're seizing cocaine. They're seizing meth. You've got murders every day. There's another murder. Every day there's another kid who's shot on a porch. Every day there's another terrible story in which people say, oh my goodness, it can't get any worse. And every day there's another story that makes it worse. You want 160 new police officers. Your Board of Aldermen will not give you the ability to tax your citizens. So what do? You fight tooth and nail to have the citizens not vote on extending taxes to raise $1 billion to build a stadium for a guy who already has a stadium, who, by all accounts, is building another stadium in Los Angeles. And if he leaves, you're doing this in conjunction with the governor to get $1 billion to build a stadium on the North Riverfront. While you can't raise money for police officers, you have infrastructure that is imploding. You have schools that are inadequately financed. You have social programs that are gone without. You have all of these other social issues. And what does the governor and the mayor do? Tooth and nail to build the guy $1 billion stadium. I'm sorry. I am a football fan, and I would vote to raise taxes to build a stadium. I would vote in favor of it. I know I'm in the minority, but I'm sorry. I cannot sit by, and I got a break. I cannot stand and do a 4-hour radio show and not call out the fact that the governor can't fund schools, can't fund roads, can't fund health care, can't fund all of these things, and yet is using all of his political capital, can't find $9 million in the budget for his biggest city to help put police officers on the street to combat the crime wave. But by golly, he can try and find $1 billion to build a stadium for a football team that already has a stadium. I'm sorry, but that is gross mismanagement. 314-969-KTRS, 1-888-550-KTRS, or star KTRS. Quick break. Back in a moment. KTRS St. Louis.
Well, let's head to the roads with Ed Smear, the Golden Oak Lane Traffic Center. Ed?
Pretty clear overall. We do have a little bit of slow traffic on eastbound 44 from Bowles to Soccer Park. Elsewhere, got road work on 270 eastbound. The exit to New Halls Ferry closed for road work till sometime earlier next month. And then also on eastbound 270,